According to a new study, 1 out of every 5 corporate bosses is a psychopath. Now, on the surface, that doesn't seem good.
Maybe even more than just on the surface. Business coach Michael Ray Newman is on the Coco News Live line, and it isn't good, is it?
Well, depends on how you look at it, but no, I wouldn't think so. We've seen a lot of this since '08, especially come out because of the stress that was in the workplace and how much has been put on them. And they didn't come in with these tendencies. These tendencies we've seen have been developed over that period of time.
So wait, they didn't start off psychopaths, but then they became them?
Well, if you look at a personality assessment, there's 4 personality types, and there's only 10% of the world that's a dominant type, and most CEOs are dominant. So they have the traits, but they don't really bubble to the surface until they see their culture that they're trying to put in place, see the things that they want to happen in their workplace not working, and then it's when those things bubble up and it gets a lot worse.
So a psychopath is often defined as a clinical disorder characterized by lack of empathy, narcissistic traits. Okay. How do you know if your boss is a psychopath?
Well, there's a lot of bosses that we've had that we've said that about, but we didn't know we were right for a while. But I don't know how you would know. I just know that when you see somebody trying to manipulate you and push things against each other, that right there has and if it's creating a negative, and if they're part of the problem, not the solution, if they're part of the problem and not the solution, there's probably a problem with them.
All right, so let's say that your CEO or your boss is in fact a psychopath. Is there a way to deal with it constructively?
Well, I've done a lot of these interviews. That's the first time I've had that question. We do a lot of coaching with C-level executives, and they try to deal with it themselves constructively. They realize there's a problem with themselves most of the time, and it always goes back to their family because it bleeds over to that. But as far as you having a solution how to deal with it, it's really hard to talk with them when they get to that point, and it's really hard for you to go anywhere else because they're at the top.
Well, and there is the question, how do so many of them get to the top?
Because they're dominant by nature. I mean, a lot of leaders everybody has a little bit of everything when it comes to your different type personalities, and everybody's good leaders. But the dominant type, those guys are born leaders. These guys are wannabe leaders, and they're really charismatic a lot of times, and they're real high driven. So they are good leaders and they're good CEOs. But really, what happens when the stress, they can't handle their workplace, they bite off a little more than they can choose when these traits turn negative.
Wow, that's kind of still 1 in 5 CEOs is a psychopath. And it's believed that 1 out of every 100 people is a psychopath. So there are more psychopaths out there running around than we might have thought.
Yeah, that's a little scary and disconcerting to think about for sure.
How do you know when it's time to quit?
Well, I mean, you have to think about your balance of life. What's your personal? If it's impacting your life, if you're carrying it home with you, I mean, you just got to go. I mean, you got to do what's best for you, and that's the problem with a lot of CEOs that we coach is the fact that they are in this position, they won't quit, they always stay too long, and then, like I said, every time we get with them, they realize they have a problem, but they can't stop it. They've got to keep pushing through because this is their baby, their show, and they really neglect the family too. So you don't want to let that affect your family.
Man, it seems I'm a little depressed, actually, Michael Ray. Thank you so much. Michael Ray Newman, who's a business coach with us right here on the Coco News Live line. Michael Ray, thanks for talking to us.
Always great, guys.